What's up, guys? Thomas and Friends Collector back at it again with another video. Yes, I know, before I actually start off with what I'm going to be talking about today, I did change the channel name again just to make it simpler, you know? But that's not the whole point of the video. The whole point of the video is that I'm going to be reviewing my very first 2025 Thomas and Friends push-along item. And that is the Sodor Adventure 6-pack. Now let's get on with the video. The first engine I want to show off is the exclusive Thomas that comes with the pack. On this side, you can see what looks like a workman painting some lining on Thomas. It kind of reminds me of a reference to The Adventure Begins, which is honestly really cool. Now, Thomas has got some really amazing detailing. Like, the whistle's actually painted in this time. And the proportions are pretty spot on now. Because in the older push-along models, I remember Thomas's cab was, like, squished down. And it just looked off to me. But anyway, as you can see, Thomas is looking off to the side. And he's got the, I guess you can call them Erdl style side rods. He's got it on both sides too. And a little detail I didn't notice was that he actually has a lamp molded into the running board. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Thomas. Oh, I also forgot to mention that he has a rear lamp on the back of his coal bunker. So I might go in and paint that in white. And who knows? I don't know. But anyway, he does have painted buffers in the front, but unpainted buffers in the back, which I will be going in and updating this guy in the near future. So, yeah, that's Thomas. The next engine I'm going to be reviewing is Percy. Percy, he's not really that bad of a model, actually. People were saying that Percy looked cross-eyed. I don't know if you can tell. But, yeah. The dome and the whistle are actually both painted in gold. And they're actually really good detailing, to say the least. Now, the number 6 on either side looks a little weird, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, there's really not much to say about Percy, other than the fact that they also gave him the Erdl-esque side rods on both sides. So yeah, that's Percy. The next model I'm going to be reviewing is Henry. Now, Henry is a little bit of a, I don't know, he's like an iffy character to me. I don't mind that they got the wheel configuration wrong, It's just the way they built the model. But the face literally reminds me of the Hit era Henry, which actually brings back nostalgic memories. But anyway, he doesn't have a whistle, which I did notice on the model before I actually got the pack. He does, however, have the top feed and the dome. I wish they were more centered in the boiler, but that's not really my doing for the model. That's Henry's front. Now, the tender, I feel like it's a little bit lazy because it looks like he doesn't even have a running board. And the buffers are molded in to the back of the model. So, I don't know about that. But, nonetheless, it's a cool tender. And it is my very first Henry model, so yeah. I will put a picture as a comparison of the older push-along Henry right there. But anyway, the detailing on the coal looks really good though. But yeah. Although I really wish they could have put the water cap thingy on Henry's tender. I don't know exactly where he has it on the tender. All I know is that it's somewhere in the back. But anyway, that's Henry. The next character I'm going to be reviewing is James. Wow, surprisingly I caught him that. Well, anyway, James looks really good, in my opinion. Now, I really wish they would have made his handrails 3D, kind of like what they did with Henry's smoke box, which I forgot to mention. But anywho, the side rods on James are actually gold because, as you can see, James's wheels are like a gunmetal gray, which I don't really mind because I think that's how it was with the All Engines Go push-along James, which I will be doing a comparison video between these guys in another time. But anyway, I like how they painted the whistle on James's cab roof. So you can see right there. Now the face on James actually looks really good. He's looking off to the side all cocky-like, which it's James, so I'm pretty sure he looks like he's bragging about being the most splendid red engine on Sodor. But anywho, the tender is basically just a copy and paste of the All Engines Go James tender in the push-along range. But, just with the more vibrant lining on the model itself. But the 5 actually looks really good on both sides, though. I'm not going to argue with that. And the coal load actually looks much better than it did when I got the All Engines Go James model Anywho, that's James. Now, the last two characters, are Thomas's faithful coaches, Annie and Clarabelle. Now, if we take a look at Annie, you can kind of see Sir Topham Hatt sitting in the window. I don't know how well the camera will pick it up, but he's right there. Other than that, I like how she came out. There's one thing that people have been saying about both Annie and Clarabelle. How they're just a copy and paste of the original push-along Annie and Clarabelle with the newer wheels. Which I don't really see a problem there, but that's just me. Anyway, here's Clarabelle. Now with Clarabelle, not much has actually changed other than her nameplate here on the side. Oop. And the detail of the passengers on either side of her windows. I like how they give the effect that there are actually passengers inside of both Annie and Clarabelle. And I also like the fact that they painted in Annie and Clarabelle's mouths, which Clarabelle looks like she's just grinning, while Annie looks like she's full on smiling while showing off her teeth. This is what both coaches look like coupled up to each other. And this is actually my first Annie and Clarabelle diecast model in general. I do have other versions of them, but I will be doing a comparison later on in another video. So let's just pass it on to Sudrian Gaming.
First off, I would like to start by saying a massive thank you to Brian for letting me be in his video. And, well, here are my thoughts on the Sodor Adventure Pack as well as the 2025 range as a whole. Let's get into it. Starting off, we have Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle. I'll get Annie and Clarabelle out of the way first. So, basically, these two, they look really good, but them being the 2019, basically just reskins, they're not really, you know, the best quality. They're basically an earlier look of what Mattel was going to do with some of the other characters, such as Edward. 2018 body and detailing 2025 wheels. So that's it for them. Now, Thomas is a bit of an interesting one. Actually, all of these are, because if I push those back and bring in both of the original push-along Thomases from 2018 and then I think like 2020 when their faces got updated with the white paint in the eyes. I brought both of these because the white dots in the eyes changed the look of the faces quite a bit. I'll show the same thing off when I show off James, but yeah. So Thomas's original form was quite blocky, as you can see. It had the same detail problem as the later Take and Play and Adventures range where everything was pretty squashed down. The face was pretty good, and I like that the running board was dipped in both the front and the back. Well, the back is just slight, but it's kind of a nice detail there. But that's that. And then for the newer models, this is the standard one. This is the one from the pack. Thomas has hit a driver painting. I think it's a driver. It looks like a Railway Studios style illustration. He's painting Thomas's lining, like the bottom stripe isn't there because he's getting ready to paint that. And then on this side, it's just the normal side, which I think is kind of nice. No back buffer details on any of these though, which is kind of a bummer, but eh. And then, yeah, Thomas also has rivet details, which is nice. All the new engines do in certain spots. And yeah, the side rods also feel very Ertl-esque, so that's nice. But yeah, on to Henry. So Henry's model is a bit of a strange one. He's basically the CGI styled Henry, but with a but his face has the eyebrow style from his Hit era faces. And then he looks pretty good. He is missing a set of wheels up front, but that's fine. And then the tender, it's pretty strange to see a Henry tender without the running board, but it looks good once painted, and I'll get into that shortly. Henry's older model, while still good, does have some flaws. Oh, Henry's also missing a wheel arch. I forgot to mention that. But his older model is pretty solid for a piece of Henry merch. I did get this one secondhand, so there's no tender, but yeah, that's the old Henry is all right. The new one is better in a lot of ways, especially the fact that it can be unscrewed. Jeez, I'm like dropping everything. That was not my intention at all. That it can be that Henry can be unscrewed. Like the screw on the tender, the back and the front can be unscrewed. So that's a nice little thing to do for customization, which I have done. I made a better 2025 Henry. Go check my Instagram if you want to see the full details on that. But unscrewing the model made it a lot easier to do all the paint details and so forth. And so yeah, that is it for Henry. I feel like he's a nice model, and he has really good scaling. So yeah, on to James. Oh, as I was cleaning up the Henrys, I forgot something to mention on Thomas. You can only unscrew Thomas's smoke box. The back of it, like the body holding fixture is a rivet that will need to be drilled out if you want to do anything with this. But you can. The nice thing about being able to unscrew the smoke box is you can switch the faces around, which is nice. Oh, Thomas also has a molded lamp, which is not painted. So, Now James, we have, well, 4 models to talk about, 3.5 really, but let's start with the older ones first again. So, like I said with Thomas, the white details in the eyes really kind of change how the face is like structured, which I kind of like. So that's why I brought both of these to show. But besides the faces, they're pretty much identical. They're basically identical. So that's it for the older Jameses. Well, James is actually, before we finish up, James is one of those engines that is typically portrayed as an 060 in a lot of his merch, which I've personally gotten used to that. So seeing James with all of his wheels is nice, but if we were to get James, push along James with a 6-wheel configuration, that's also fine by me. But I feel like the spacing on his wheel arches on the older model is really weird. But yeah, the whistle is painted, which is a nice detail to have, reminiscent of the wooden railway CGI James. But yeah, and then the James is a nice little model. But yeah, I think James is gonna have to be a two-parter, so I'm gonna do the other part now. So, you know. Now, as for the newer Jameses, I brought the All Engines Go James because the new James reuses a few pieces from the All Engines Go James, namely the entire tender, and the cab is also similar, besides the not having a slanted roof. So that's it for that, really. But James's model is really, really nice. The face is nice, the proportions are really nice. The smoke boxes on all these guys are kind of like an ash gray rather than just a straight up black. Don't know why he has gold side rods and gunmetal gray wheels, but the gunmetal gray wheels kind of transferred over from his All Engines Go model, albeit now with actual spokes. And James, also like Henry, he can also be unscrewed for customization, which can provide which can make for some pretty interesting combinations in terms of like customization stuff. I've seen people like put the old James tender, which I'll bring up over here. I've seen people use the old James tender with the new James, and it looks all right, although the old tender had one glaring issue, and all the tender engines had this. The buffers were printed on the front side of the tender rather than the back where they're supposed to be. But that was just a whole factory issue, so yeah. And I've also seen them, I think I saw somebody put the old face on the new James, but I'm not quite sure. I'll have to fact check that. But yeah, James is a solid model. Cab feels a bit oversized compared to like the Firebox height, but still a cool model nonetheless. And now for the last of the bunch, Percy. Percy is arguably one of the better models in this in this set, and the single pack in general. But let's start with the old Percy yet again. He's very long. He does have molded pistons on the sides, so props for that. The face is really nice. But yeah, the length is kind of a little bit of an issue for a lot of people, because a lot of Percy merch is depicted as really long like this, when he's supposed to be, you know, small guy. But yeah, I'd say this Percy is pretty good representation of the character. Not the best, but it's a cool model to have in the collection regardless. Also, I think at this point I honestly prefer the new wheels over the old ones in terms of just like design unity, or I don't know. The new wheels look better in some aspects. The old ones are just the reused take and play wheels. But on to the new Percy. And the reason why the All Engines Go Percy is here is because the new Percy uses the running board and a slightly modified chassis from the All Engines Go Percy, which again, the All Engines Go Percy is screwed, but unfortunately the new Percy is riveted on both the smoke box and the chassis and the body screw. You can kind of see it in there. It's really deep in there, so it's hard to see. But yeah, Percy is a nice model. I feel like the side rods on him are a bit too far forward in the way that they're like just mounted. But the things that I can say that are weird are the number 6 and the face. His eyes are a little bit too big, so ideally when I get a second Percy, I plan to get a second Percy. I'm gonna swap the face out with one from one of these, just to make a better looking 2025 Percy, because I feel like on this face the eyes are a bit too big, and in the promos it looked more cross-eyed than anything else. But yeah. And for the final push along thing I have to note before I end the video, the couplings have switched from silver to off-white to gunmetal gray. I think I prefer the silver couplings because they're more TM2-esque, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the silver couplings are my favorites here. The gunmetal gray ones are the second most. But yeah. And that is my thoughts on the Sodor Adventure Pack. Thank you very much, Brian, for letting me be a part of this video. And yeah, I'm glad that it's finally done. The video did take a while, but especially since my old the old recording I did for the set was really bad, but I'm happy that I was able to redo it now and get it done. But yeah, thank you very much, Brian. Go sub to Thomas and Friends Collector, and I'll plug my channel here because why the heck not? Sudrian Gaming 4472. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, dude. Greeting, viewers. Let's talk about the Sodor Adventure Pack I got from Walmart a couple weeks ago. Alright. First up, we got Thomas. And oh my, he looks stunning. He got a driver, he painted one of the sides. Yeah, I wish this was a regular Thomas, but overall, this one was good. Second up, it's Henry. And oh boy, Henry looks really impressive. You see his face. Yeah, I wish the tender was not a little weird, but overall still okay. Unique side rods. Cool model. James the Red Engine himself. And oh my, he looks really splendid. Especially love the gold side rods he got. And his gray wheels. That looks like his Take 1 model. It's tender. Alright. Next up, Percy the Green Engine. So accurate to his TV counterparts. Love the sirens he got. Face is cool too. Yeah, this is the most accurate Percy toy we have done in a while. Last but not least, Annie and Clarabelle. You can see Thomas in person today. Oh my, he's impressive. Annie has lipstick in her face, some passengers. But they look like the light up reveal Annie Clarabelle from Wooden. Clarabelle 2. I don't know if you can see the lipstick, but they both do have lipsticks on both of them. Overall, pretty cool pack. I rate this pack 10 out of 10 if you can find this in your local Walmart, Amazon, or any other retailer stores or online shopping if you can find this pack. Hopefully you can find this for under 30 bucks to get this. Thanks again for having me. And for those of you watching, don't forget to subscribe. This is Urgic Fan 2006 signing out.
Thank you, Sudrian Gaming, and thank you, Urgic Fan 2006. Now, as always, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below on which model that the three of us reviewed was your favorite, and which one was your least. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so that you know whenever I post a brand new video. Oh, don't forget to click that bell button too. Now, I wanted to do this video mainly because it was going to be my first 2025 merch related video, so yeah, there's pretty much nothing else to it, so thank you guys so much for watching again, and this is Thomas and Friends Collector signing out. Peace.